So yeah, excited to be back, and thank you everybody for attending our launch event. Always super excited to do these sorts of things. This is the one event in the company where every single part of the company comes together so that we can work on this. Everyone, developers to the our team in QA, the design team, the product management team, the customer success team, sales team, everybody. Literally, it's the entire company that comes together to make these events happen. So we're very excited about it. And I wanted to start off by just saying, big thank you to everybody here. So you are the reason why we do the things that we do, and all your feedback, all of your suggestions. We take it all into account. So thank you for all your support along the way. And of course, a big thank you to the fellow team that makes all this stuff possible. So there's a bunch of questions today, and I'm excited to go through all of them. So, obviously there's a chat on the side, so you can go ahead and, ask some questions there. So the incredible team at Fellow has also compiled a lot of the questions that you've asked during the launch event. And so I'm going to basically go through those items. So I'm going to answer those questions. And then, of course, if there's new questions in the chat section here, happy to answer those as well. So the first thing that I did want to mention, before we dive in, is that today we are also launching this, Fellow 4.5 on Product Hunt. So if you have a Product Hunt account, we'll include a link in the chat. And so would love for you all to check that out and support us on Product Hunt too. That really helps as always. So wanted to mention that. And the second thing I wanted to mention was, on the prompts. So what you noticed is one of the major things that we launched this time around is this idea that you can now chat with your meetings. And you kind of saw the examples that we showed during the actual launch event. But this is a really powerful way to interact with your meeting content. And to be very honest, like it's actually, even for me, it feels magical and mind blowing every time I use it. And it's really changed the way that I interact with my meetings. So now every time I go into a one-on-one meeting, every time I go into a team meeting, the first thing that I do is I have my handy prompt, and I shared that during the launch event. But I basically ask Copilot, like, tell me all the things that I need to know from my last meeting. Are there any report building questions that I should ask? And finally, is there anything that I should follow up on? Every single time, like clockwork, this is a prompt that I'm asking, and I literally walk into the meeting feeling super prepared, super on top of my game, and I feel like I have this superpower because I have fellow Copilot by my side. And I encourage you all to start doing this. It's really going to change the way that you walk into your meetings. Other things that you can do with it, for example, are things like, based on the last meeting, help me come up with an agenda for my upcoming meeting. You're gonna be surprised, like, the prompts are, I mean, the output is so good that I would almost argue that it's better than what a human could do. And the reason I say that is because, human is not gonna be able to consume all of your meetings and all the details and watch it and pay attention super closely and not miss a thing, but the fellow Copilot is gonna be able to do that. So it really starts to change the way that, you interact with your meetings. And what I did wanna mention, and this was a question that was asked throughout, was, what happens and, how does the Copilot work today? So today, it is something that you, are gonna use to talk to the last iteration of your meeting. But as you can imagine, things that we're working on in the background, we're going to make it so that you can search through or use the Copilot to go through the entire history of a particular meeting or the relevant portions of that history. So that's something in the background. And the other thing that you're thinking about is, is there going to be an opportunity to search across the meetings that I'm a part of? These are all certainly things that we're thinking about today, and we're working through. As you can imagine, some of these have technical complexities, and so we're working through them. But one of the nice things that now exists because the Copilot functionality is there is, even if there isn't a chat with your entire meetings repository, we do have a search. So because Copilot creates all of these transcripts, now when you search, if if you're on Mac, if you do Command K or go to the search section or Control K on Windows, you can actually search for something, and it's going to search through all the transcripts of all the meetings that you have access to, right? If you want to decide which meeting was it that you discussed a certain thing, that's a really, really great way to be able to do that. So all that to say is, you know, completely changes the way that you're gonna interact with your meetings. Excited for you all to try it out. Excited for you to come up with your own prompts, and as you come up with these prompts, we'd love for you to share them with us, because when you share them with us, it kind of informs the different types of use cases that we're gonna be able to build out inside of Copilot to make a lot of those things faster and easier, and allow other people to discover those use cases as well. So, prompt away, and then make sure, if you find something really, really good, make sure to share it with our team, use intercom, send it our way. We're compiling all these things, and then we're going to make a repository. We'll share it with everybody else so we can all learn from each other to constantly make our meetings better. So, okay. So first, I'm going to answer a question. Uh, about it says, "Hi, some clients don't like to see themselves being recorded. Can Fellow transcribe a meeting with just a transcript and no recording?" So, not right now. So today you would have to do both, but certainly, this is a request that we've had, that we're kind of working through, and there may be options like that in the future. But yeah, today, if you're using Copilot functionality, you basically have the video and the transcript. One thing that may be of use today is this ability to auto delete information afterwards. So we're working with a lot of very large companies, and so some of the companies want some settings around these sorts of recordings. So, for example, you can set things to auto delete after 2 weeks or 2 months. So there is some functionality there, and we're going to build more settings in there too. But in general, yes, it does have to be both of them. So I have a question from Addie, who says, "Our meetings are 85% external with project clients. Can Fellow automatically group meetings based on clients or projects easily?" So Addie, that's a great question. So again, we're working on this stuff super rapidly. So what you're going to notice coming very soon, and we just got access to it in our own staging environment, is you're going to have filters in your meeting recordings library where you can say, "Show me all external meetings," as an example. So you're gonna have things like that, and then you're also going to be able to search based on the attendees. So you're going to be able to select, if it's this attendee or this title, and you're going to be able to search through those. And over the course of time, we may build the opportunity for you to tag these videos, group them in a better way. But right now, we're kind of relying on this filtering and searching as a primary mechanism. But it's a really good use case, and let me know if what we have there so far works, or if you want something more. Happy to consider that with the team as we continue to build that out. Okay, so Janelle, does it search across all videos? For example, would it respond to a prompt like which meetings are relevant for a trainee? So today it does not. This is the first iteration of this. The current iteration is you can basically chat with your previous meeting in a recurring series. The next iteration that we're working on is for you to be able to search more than just the last iteration, but go broader. And then we're going to have to think about searching across your meetings. But what you can do today, Janelle, is like if you have a particular word you want to search for, or a particular phrase, you can use our global search, and it will search all of your transcripts. And so any meetings that have that, a particular, word mentioned, you can find those meetings, and then you can maybe favorite them or link to them in another place so that you can kind of isolate those, and keep it that way. So from Krista, is unlimited storage of Copilot on the Pro plan, or is there a limit to the number of meetings that I can record? So great question. So this is again stuff that we're all, very early innings of Fellow. So we are continuously thinking through these, but the way that it works right now is the the Pro plan by default, the new Pro plan includes 5 recordings per person per month, but pooled. So if you have 10 people, that would be 50. The business plan has more, and the enterprise plan has even more. And so these are all pooled. So the idea is by pooling them, you can collectively use these credits. We also have a pay as you go system. So if you put $5, $10 as a budget, and if you run out of credits, we'll kind of you know ta- uh, we'll basically take that away from the budget that you allocated. So a few options there, and as things progress, the expectation is we'll be able to offer more and more in our plans, but currently that is how it works. And the way that I think about all this stuff is that we're entering a world where this, like, it really starts to make a difference. Like, if you think about getting one person to not have to attend the meeting and be able to consume it asynchronously, or be able to watch a clip, like, if that happens once in the entire month, fellow is worth it. So the dynamic is changing, and I think, like, the value that you get from just all the AI recordings and everything else is starting to increase, and so hopefully, uh, you all can see that as well. Okay, so from Christopher, what about a meeting recorder where a conference room is included and there are multiple voices on one microphone? Yeah, so this is a good question. So today, the way that that would work is that Fellow would assume all the people in the room are one person, and obviously that's not super ideal, but we are working on it. This is something that we are actively thinking about. There are plans to address it. I can't promise when we'll be able to have that functionality out there, but definitely, our goal, Fellow is a product for remote and hybrid companies, and this is a very common hybrid scenario. So even though we don't have it today, it's something that we're definitely thinking about and actively discussing. So, okay, from Lee, what service is processing a meeting, and is it kept private and not retained? So, great question. So, the way that you all should think about Fellow is that our view, and what we're here to do is we're here to solve the global meeting problem. And so we're really thinking about all the meetings within a company. So the only way that we can help with every single meeting in a company is if we have world class security, privacy, permissioning. And so that's basically how we address this. And a lot of the focus and effort that we do is around permissioning, privacy rules, working with very large companies that publicly traded, sensitive financial information, highly regulated, right? So these are the types of customers that we work with. So there's a lot of settings around this stuff. We have a sub-processor section. We are SOC 2 Type 2 compliant. And so if you search for Fellow sub-processors, you'll get a list of the latest list of any sub-processors that we use. And you can rest assured that we're obviously validating and making sure that all of these sub-processors that we use have at least the same security standards we do, if not, a level above. Although, Fellow's pretty high up there. So, what I would say, and the other thing to keep in mind is that we're always experimenting, and so it's not like a singular. Fellow isn't using just one service and calling it a day. Like, we are actively thinking about the best places to use the best technology and bringing and curating that so that when you're using Fellow for your meetings, you have the latest and greatest that AI technology offers. Okay. So Brewer 2326, how can we navigate the data security questions about who and what has access to the meeting data? Yeah. So basically, the way that this works is by default, Fellow just uses the permissioning of your calendar. So if there's three people in that meeting, those are the only three people that are going to have access to the meeting information. Nobody else, unless you very specifically, share that information. But in terms of where this information is stored, again, I would check our sub processors, but we use AWS, to basically do all the storage, and you have full access to everything. You can download your videos. The data belongs to you. This is the data always belongs to the customers. Okay, so from Heather, and Heather, thank you for all your participation. I saw you're very, very active in the chat, so thank you for all your support. You said, can you explain the access level of Copilot features for guest viewers? We use Fellow for external users. Uh, yeah. So one of the things that we focus on with Copilot is we're trying to make it easier and easier for you to send the meeting recaps to your external clients that don't have Fellow accounts. So this is now enabled. You can do it. If you click on the AI recap and open it up, there's a send button, and then you can type emails and send it to them. There's an automation, so you can set the automation so on an account level that whenever you have meetings with an external, uh, customer, the AI notes can automatically be sent. You can make changes and customize this automation. So again, lots of capability there. Traditionally, when Fellow was first born, we focused on internal meetings because again, we want to reduce your meeting footprint and everything else. But over the last year and a half, I would say we've really like built out the functions around external relations, because what we realize is that you can't just fix the meeting problem by only focusing on a subset of meetings. And so now we tackle both. Okay, so and yeah, so Krista, I'm a solopreneur, but in probably 10 to 15 meetings a week. So yeah, I forgot to mention that, especially if you're a solopreneur, there's an unlimited option. So that's something you can also get. And so yeah, I would basically, if you message your support and ask for the unlimited option, there is like a higher level plan that works for solopreneurs, and you can definitely use that one. Is the Fellow integration with Slack live? I can't get it to work from Slack and don't see. Okay, that sounds like a support issue, Jamie. So yes, Slack integration is live. We use it all the time. So definitely check it out. So yeah, higher works. It seems like you're agreeing with Krista. Yeah, we do have an unlimited plan, and basically the way that it works is it's an additional $10 per user per month. So and then it'll give you unlimited. So that's an option that happens, and we try to make it so that it's comparable to other tools that do some of the things that we do. Of course, Fellow is the holistic platform, so, in general, we're not a point solution that does only one thing, which is record meetings. We, do the holistic meeting management, and so I actually think, we are, comparable, at least in price, to if you get the unlimited option. So that is an option, Krista and Hireworks. Make sure to check that out. Okay, so next question, Lior. Is there anything on the roadmap to have meeting content to be auto skipped based on keywords? Okay, maybe you can clarify what that means in the chat. I'm not fully sure I understand the question. I think what you're saying is if there's sensitive content, is there a way to redact that information? If that's what you're thinking, we are, that is something that we are thinking about actively, but it currently doesn't exist in the product. But we're definitely thinking about it very actively. So yeah, and I can kinda give you a hint, like, we're gonna give you the opportunity to be able to go off the record and on the record and some things like that, and also, go back and, make some changes in that way. So we're definitely thinking about this. Okay, so Christopher, can meeting recordings and clips be downloaded? Yeah, you can definitely download them. That's an easy one. And making clips, if it's, actually, that's a good question. I don't know if all of the features are fully live yet, but the plan is in the next day or two for everything to be fully live. So if you don't have it right now, we could be slow rolling it. But if you don't see the button in your meeting recap, you will see it in the next, I would say, in the next, yeah, day or two. Okay. Is there a plan to have an API? Addy, like maybe you can let us know what you're thinking the API should do. And and we're looking at it. We sometimes get that request. And so we're trying to flesh out a little bit more what that actually can look like. And Jeremy, in Google Calendar, there was a meeting cost, $94. What was that? Yeah, so that's our meeting cost calculator. It's an option that you can turn on or off if you have our Google Chrome extension. The idea is that if you have a lot of people in your company and you kind of want a little bit more, um, I guess, attention to be paid around, do I want, like how much resources is this meeting taking? This is just a way to remind people so that they can come into a meeting ultra prepared, making sure that only the people that are going to be participating are actually going to the meeting, and things like that. Um, yeah. So, Alessandra, how do we compare to? I mean, you mentioned one of the competitors out there. So the way that we think about this stuff is that there are a lot of tools out there that focus on being a point solution around taking and post processing meetings, taking them, transcribing or summarizing them. you know that's not what we're trying to do. We do that, and again, maybe I'm biased. We think, and we've been told by our customers that we outperform when you do a head-to-head comparison. But that's not why you should use Fellow. You should use Fellow because you want to solve your meeting problem, and summarizing a meeting is part of that. But we always say, if you summarize a crappy meeting, it was still crappy and it was still a waste of time. So what we like to do is we try to solve the meeting problem holistically, and so that's what Fellow is about. It's this all-in-one platform. But I think you'll be pleasantly surprised if you do a head-to-head comparison on any particular thing. So from Charles, as you're expanding your copilot to look at all of a person's meetings, it would be nice to be able to ask things like, what are some of the most urgent action items? Uh, so Charles, you read our minds. That's exactly the sorts of things that we are thinking about. And if you do it um, on a per meeting basis right now, I promise you're going to be pleasantly surprised with how well it works. So that is a great, that's kind of like the world that we're entering, right? You end the week and you want to just be told, what happened this week? Just remind me. Or you walk in on a Monday, what do I need to focus on? And fellows should be able to help you with those things. So those are definitely the ways that we are uh, thinking. Um, and Christopher, so you asked about the unlimited recordings. Yes, so that is generally how it works. It's on top of whatever the per user fee is. But again, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that for most organizations, but it does work for solopreneurs. Because if you have an organization and you have a bunch of people on Fellow, typically the pooled credits that we offer, say on the business plan, uh, is more than enough, right? And if 5 people attend the same meeting, it's still 1 credit. It doesn't use more than that. So generally speaking, organizations that use Fellow should be good with our pooled options. But if you're solopreneur, you might want to get the add-on. Okay, so the it's funny. So the launch event was shorter this time around, and we said, "Oh, are people going to fill up the Q&A time?" We definitely had more questions than I was able to answer during this time, and I want to be respectful of everyone's time. We're ending on the hour here, so I'm gonna answer the 2 more questions, and then we'll call it a session, and then of course, we can definitely follow up on any questions that were not answered. The team will work on that. So the final 2 questions: are there any plans to improve the OKRs of Fellow? They're such an important feature of the meeting. So JT, the reason that we have OKRs in Fellow is because we think goals are discussed in meetings, and to have a great meeting, we should make that interface seamless. In terms of like the way that we're thinking about it, the focus of the team right now is to build more and more AI capability within the product, because we really truly feel that we can revolutionize the ways that you have meetings. And so from a focus perspective, that probably takes up a lot of our focus in more recent months. But Once we feel that that's at a good place, we may expand into other areas as well. So in the near term, you can kind of see that in this launch, we are very, very focused on just building up the AI functionality and continuing to add value there. Okay, so the the other question, maybe I will add. Okay, so I think we actually answered a lot of the questions. So maybe, um, yeah, and we had another question, which is, how do we convince our IT to enable the copilot for everyone from Robin? And if you're having trouble convincing your IT, it's super simple. Just reach out to us. We have documentation, security docs we can send. Happy to chat with your IT team, or our team is. And again, we're enabling this across the board. AI is new for companies. And so there is a little bit of explaining why it's secure, it's private, and it works. But there hasn't been a company so far that hasn't, after talking to IT, we haven't been able to convince to that that it's something that they should enable. So definitely happy to chat with whomever on your IT team. So that brings us to an end for today. And once again, thank you all for attending. And don't forget Product Hunt. If you have a Product Hunt account, we'll include the link. We'd love for you to support us on Product Hunt. And also on May 16th, if you want to invite your company leaders to attend our big webinar, we're hosting the CEO and senior exec roundtable on companies that have transformed their meeting culture. And we're going to hear from some really amazing speakers. Feel very privileged that they're going to be on the program. So that's going to be on May 16th. Stay tuned for an email on that. And with that said, thank you all for attending. Another great launch. But this is not the end. There's so many new things coming, and I'm super excited for all of you to see all the things that we have coming in store. Thank you, and we will see you next time.